You ever open an app and just feel totally overwhelmed? Well, there's this quiet revolution brewing in the software world. It's a movement that's not driven by corporate roadmaps or profit margins, but by a really simple, powerful idea, just building things for the pure joy of it. So let's get into what's happening here. And it all starts with this feeling, which this quote from a developer in Hacker News just nails. It's a massive pushback against all the noise. The motivation isn't about creating the next big thing. It's about reclaiming a little bit of control over the tools we have to use every single day. And yeah, this feeling is fueling a full-on revolt against software bloat. It's a direct reaction to the insane complexity that's somehow crept into even the most basic apps. I mean, think about it. We've kind of just accepted that a simple notepad app needs to connect to the cloud, or that a calculator needs an AI sidebar. It's wild. So now, developers are just saying enough, and they're building their own simple, focused replacements for things like REST clients, snipping tools, and note takers. This whole philosophy, this entire movement, has been given a name that's just perfect for it. It's called vibe coding. So, what does that actually mean? At its heart, vibe coding is about scratching a personal itch. It's about letting your curiosity guide you and just enjoying the process of making something that works perfectly for you. There's no business plan, no venture capital, just a person and an idea. And this chart just lays out the difference so clearly. Corporate software is built for millions, and it's all driven by profit and growth. Vibe coding, though, it's often built for an audience of one, driven by that simple thought, I need this. And the result? Instead of a bloated app trying to be everything to everyone, you get a simple, essential tool that just does one thing really, really well. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When you remove all those corporate constraints and pressures, you unleash some truly wild and creative ways of solving problems. Let's look at an absolutely fantastic example. So, this story comes from a user on Reddit who was dealing with a super modern and super expensive problem. Just searching their own documents was eating up all their computer's memory and costing them a fortune in cloud fees. But that frustration led to a completely out-of-the-box idea. Okay, this is where it gets wonderfully weird, so just stay with me here. The idea was to take all the text from the documents, turn it into a bunch of QR codes, and then stitch those QR codes together as individual frames in a video file. I know, it sounds nuts, but here's the brilliant part. The technology we use for video compression, the stuff that lets us stream movies, is unbelievably good at shrinking files with repeating patterns. It's a genius hack, using one technology to solve a totally unrelated problem. And the results are just staggering. Seriously, RAM usage dropped from over 8 gigabytes to just 200 megabytes. The cost went from over $150 a month to zero because it all runs offline. And the performance hit for all that efficiency? The search is a fraction of a second slower, barely noticeable. It is an absolutely brilliant, unconventional solution that is pure vibe coding. So what's making this explosion of personal projects possible right now? Well, a huge part of the answer is the arrival of powerful AI tools that are basically acting as a creative co-pilot for any developer who wants one. As this user points out, large language models, LLMs, the tech behind tools like ChatGPT, are a complete game changer. You know that little niche app you've always wanted but could never justify spending weeks building? Well, with an AI copilot, suddenly that's not just possible, it's practical. It could be a weekend project. And we're seeing this happen everywhere. There's one developer who built a whole domain appraisal tool, something that would have taken forever, in just a few days with AI helping out. Another just added complex new features to their weather app on a whim, basically just by describing what they wanted to an AI. And don't think this is just for small hobby tools. We're seeing incredibly ambitious open source projects, like MiroThinker, that are setting new performance benchmarks. They're competing with, and sometimes even beating, these massive corporate AI models. It just goes to show that you don't need a giant tech lab to create something state-of-the-art anymore. But ultimately, all of this incredible creativity and powerful technology is being pointed back at something really fundamental, solving real human problems that big companies often overlook. And the problems being solved are so deeply human and specific. For instance, a developer built a simple journal that actually helped them reduce their migraines. Another created an app just to speed up the checkout line at their local grocery store. We're seeing tools to help immigrants with confusing legal forms, and even a platform to crowdfund product safety testing. These are projects born from real empathy.
So, the big takeaway here is that the vibe coding revolution is way more than just a trend. It feels like a real shift toward a more personal, a more purposeful, and, well, a more humane kind of technology. It's a future where the most important piece of software you use might just be the simple tool you built for yourself.
And that brings us to the final thought. With all these new possibilities, what's that one little annoyance in your life, that one nagging problem that you could solve with a simple piece of software built just for you? What would you create?